Well, it's another Tuesday night, and welcome back to the den. And it's time for us to howl into the void. Currently, right now, it's just me and Chrissy in chat, so we're gonna see if Lily gets her internet back because it's currently down. We'll see if Rask joins us, if Gas Giant wants to pop in. But let's go ahead and switch over and see how Chrissy's doing. And how are you doing, Chrissy?
Oh, I'm doing all right. I'm awake somehow still, but I'm hanging in there.
I mean, awake is good.
Yeah, it's just that, there are days when I get home and I just look at my bed and I go, tempting. But then I'd probably be up at like 3 in the morning, wide awake.
Yeah, that's been me all week. I've just been sitting here, enjoying that break that I took from Friday. I was like, I'm not going to stream on Saturday, Sunday, or Monday, because I just want to take a break, because I streamed games and everything for like 3 days a week, or last week. And like every day I was just sitting looking at my bed, like I could just be sleeping right now.
Yeah, it's definitely tempting for sure, but it's like, yeah, no, there's things that need to be done.
We must be responsible adults.
Oh, it's the worst.
Yeah.
We were not told about this growing up. They did not prepare us for this.
What'd you learn in school? Not fucking this.
Oh, I'm sure I could probably remember Pythagorean's theorem. Fat lot, that's done me, especially all the math I've had to do for taxes. Yeah, when's that gonna get thrown in there?
Don't forget a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Except, no, it doesn't.
That's all right. It's just the North American education system, which, hey, you know what?
Yeah.
Got us through somehow.
They always told me that long division would come in handy. I still have yet to do any long division.
Oh, God, no. God, no.
Or what else
I don't
did
remember
they...
the last.
What else did
I
they
honestly
tell
don't
us that
remember the
we
last
needed?
time I've had to use division.
I mean, I use division all the time. I just don't use long division.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, yeah, long division, yeah. I don't know. I guess in a day-to-day occurrences, I don't really... I mean, I use fractions and decimals like crazy, but I mean, other than that...
I'm gonna... Sorry, Lily just texted.
Oh, cool.
Apparently her internet is still down. I'm like, well, you're texting me on Telegram. Do you not have it on your phone? What do you mean you don't have a mic for your phone? Your phone has a mic.
Wait a minute. Is she communicating with the tapping thing?
No, she's on Telegram.
Oh, okay. Oh, she's actually writing you telegrams to send them because she doesn't have any Wi-Fi. I see.
Oh, no. She's on the Telegram app.
I know.
I know, but I'm just like, so you're like, I don't have internet. I'm like, obviously you have data.
Yes.
I don't know why you're concerned about a decent microphone. It's this show. I'm actually surprised things have gone so smooth so far.
Good. That's always a nice feeling. You know, the
yeah,
nice,
that's usually when
smooth...
things get jinxed.
Yeah, so you might as well ride the high now.
Yeah. Oh, okay, so apparently her phone mic's weird. Okay. I'll give her that.
Dang it.
It's okay. I mean, I'm hoping Rascalin can come by tonight because I really just kind of want to get his reaction to this discovery I found earlier. I really should stop looking into the history of comic books because DC just has... Holy shit.
DC can get pretty crazy with stuff, I gotta admit.
It's not so much crazy, so much as you kind of look at it and you want to go back to the day that the thing was introduced and just look at the person pitching it to the board and just be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, what are you on right now? I mean, I'm gonna...
Because I didn't... Sorry.
What were you saying?
I was gonna say, it's funny because I didn't really own a lot of comics growing up. I was very much pushed toward reading fiction, nonfiction, but comic books were kind of, pushed to the side. No, don't forget the pictures. Focus on the words.
Yeah.
If I remember, I had one Spider-Man comic. I had 2 Star Wars comics, and my last comic was a St. Francis of Assisi comic.
Okay, then.
To be honest, that one was actually a really fun one to read. I'm not gonna lie. Mostly because the art style was phenomenal, just mwah, top tier. But I got it at it was called a book saving event, where the libraries and people would donate books to the libraries, and then they would bring out all these tables and they'd line the tables with books, and they would have some people in the center of this ring of tables who would hold up a book. And whoever pointed at it first got the book.
This sounds like it's encouraging violence.
Thankfully, it was really calm and low key. It was a very much a like an art walk kind of atmosphere, where it was, you had the vendors that were set up for the people who were selling the books that they had written, the publishers who had shown up to help sponsor the event, but then you had the tables, which was the big deal. And I just remember seeing that comic go up, and I'm like, that's really nice art. Nobody went for it, so I went for it.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot of comics with like really nice high-end art, like super detailed and photorealistic, people don't want those. And I'm like, that just shows me that you're not really in it for the art, you're in it for the action.
Right, exactly. And it's like, oh my gosh, I actually just found the cover of it. It was from Marvel.
Really? What was it?
Yeah, it was let's see if I can get... Oh god, I have to read someone's entire thesis on just to find them.
When I was 12 years old, my mother locked me in a closet and beat me with a Catholic flagellum. This is when I knew that I would never make cupcakes.
Okay, so I found it. It is Marvel Comics, Francis, Brother of the Universe, his complete life story. It was from 1980.
Okay.
And
That must have been one of their, like, backdoor philosophical runs.
It was their tie-in with the Catholic Church, of course. The biggest crossover in Marvel history.
Yes. The most controversial, too.
Absolutely.
You'll notice that we hate on vegans and Catholics a lot on this channel. It's not out of hate. It's just, they're fucking weird. And considering we have Rascalin on, who is an ex-Catholic vegan, I feel like we have a little bit of a sway in those arenas.
Yeah, I mean, I did my I don't know if saying I did my time for the church is a good thing to say, but
You did your
kind of
penance.
how
You
I
did your
did my
penance.
penance. Yes, I prefer that much better.
Well, I mean, that's the Catholic thing, is like, do your penance. I did my penance, and I decided to nope the fuck out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's like, listen, I'm all for preaching, goodness and fairness, happiness, and uplifting those who are beneath you to make them better, and overall leaving things better than the way you found it. I love that whole philosophy. So they do it.
I mean, the thing I hate about Catholic doctrine is just the fucking root of it. Where you're born into sin, you're guilty the moment you begin to exist, and you can never make up for it. You have a blood debt from the day you were conceived.
Yeah, that kind of puts a whole shadow on everything,
Yeah, exactly. So, well, you have to do your penance. Do good by the poor. Don't sin. And it's like, but why? I've already got a debt.
I just got here and I'm already in debt. What the hell?
Yeah. It's like I was just born and I'm going to hell? What the fuck, man?
Oh, is there a manager I could talk about through this? Come on, man.
Yeah, the manager is Jesus? No, I'm pretty sure it's not. Pretty sure Jesus had some other words to say about this.
Oh boy, man. I will say, it is, if you get yourself someone who has read the Bible, understands the Bible, and is all about, like, the teachings of Jesus, and actually doing, and I've met a small few of people who do genuinely try and live by that virtuous nature, and it's like, you know what, good for you. Thankfully there are people like you who are still around, because there's so few. But it's tragic to see how a doctrine that you would think would be built on love and kindness and the uplifting of others has been twisted.
Yeah.
I mean, like nearly everything else, in the world, it is eventually going to be twisted. But it's like, oh, come on! They're like, this is growing up. This was like, come on, you don't do this to me. Like,
I mean, remember,
this is something I was enjoying.
Yeah, remember, if we were going to follow the teachings exactly, that every time a woman menstruates, we need to cast her out of society, and she's not allowed back until she finds 2 turtles and presents them to a priest.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't read that deeply into the Bible. You're gonna need to.
Okay, so I'm gonna be
pull
honest.
my copy out.
I was raised Southern Baptist, so we kind of skipped over all the first part of the Bible, Genesis and all that. Mm-hmm. We kind of stuck around like New Testament and like the very beginning of Deuteronomy.
I see. Okay, yeah. So there is definitely.
Yeah. Well, and then when I was cleaning out my grandfather's house when he had to move after his second wife died, I'm gonna say this right now, if I ever mention this man again, you'll notice that I'll call one my grandmother and the other his second wife. There's a reason for that.
Understood.
I never knew my grandmother. Technically I did. She met me when I was an infant, but then she died before I was, conscious. Yeah. But, his second wife, I couldn't stand her. We called her 4x4 because she was 4 foot high and 4 foot wide.
Oh, God.
When she died, they had to call in extra EMS because she weighed over 600 pounds.
Wow.
She got a diabetes diagnosis, and they're severe diabetic, you're going to be insulin dependent for the rest of your life. So she decided that the way she wanted to spend her life was to sit in an armchair And then she had one of those, like, 15-gallon Tupperware bins next to it full of candy that she would just fucking grab handfuls from and eat.
Wow.
Yeah. That gives you a insight. But anyways, no, while I was cleaning out his house, like, I went up to his office, which he hadn't used in, oh shit, I was like 28 at that point, so like at least 28 years. And I found like a whole bunch of books, including like the original run of the 1970s Joy of Sex, which apparently is a hella rare book because they had to reprint it several times. And then I found a family Bible, which is the entire Old Testament up to that point and the entire New Testament combined. And of course it's King James version, so it's still watered down to hell. But I was like, holy shit, if this book ever fell on somebody, it would just instantly kill them. But because it was leather bound and gilded, I was like, nah, I feel like I have to read it at this point.
Oh, absolutely, yes. Now, I do have to ask, was the dirty book hidden inside the Bible or the other way around?
The Bible was hidden behind the Joy of Sex.
Wow, okay.
Well, keep in mind, when I say his office, the man was a Marine for most of his life. So his office was where he would go and do his duties as a second lieutenant and as a... What is the word that I wanted? It's not a transcriber. But, like, he was basically a secretarial position. So, like, he did a lot of typing and paperwork. So, like, that's where his thing was. But said second wife also hated the fact that he was in the military because she didn't believe in it. So she did everything she could to make sure that office was never able to be gotten into.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting because it's like, I'm trying to think of, like, family stuff for me, and it's like, I don't know a lot of my family history.
Yeah. Also, hi, Knox. Good to see you.
Oh! Hello! Hold on a second, let me take a look. Yes, okay, cool. Now I can see the chat as well. Wonderful.
Yeah, I noticed that the chat didn't work because it's supposed to have popped up in this left side bar here. So I'm wondering if I just didn't resize it correctly or what.
And that's using Streamlabs, correct?
I am using OBS right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I could not figure out how to get the chat to show up for me through OBS at all.
Oh, do you know what it probably is? I probably didn't set the, Yeah, it's still trying to read a pop-out, and I haven't popped out the chat yet.
I see.
So that's what it is. I forgot to get the latest URL for the chat. Luckily, I have my two screens up, so...
Hey, at least it's not the worst thing that could happen. So.
I mean, if you want to see how bad this show can get, you should probably watch... Yep, there we go. Now it's showing up right. Because now the background's transparent and everything, so...
There it is. Perfect!
Yeah, if you want to see how bad this show could get, you should just watch the first few episodes where I had no idea what the hell I was doing.
Oh, that's just being life, honestly. Just like, I walk outside and I'm like, oh god. 1 foot for the other. Okay.
The infamous first episode of Howling where it was just me, and I spent 30 minutes rambling. I had no cam, nothing. I was just sitting on my bed, rambling with no point whatsoever. All about like how I hate MMOs because of the toxic culture.
That I understand completely.
Yeah.
Although that and a lot of shooters that I've played. Like I can't play Call of Duty anymore. I tried when I was working in restaurants. My manager, two managers actually, got me into playing Call of Duty Warzone with them, and thought we're just gonna play, have some fun, talk a bit, and de-stress a little bit. These guys were so friggin' serious into this game. And then I'm trying to talk a bit with them, and one of them goes, "Hey, can we have some silence on the comms?" Like, seriously, dude? This is enjoyable to you? No. So I
You're pretending to be something you are not?
I didn't come to play with what would that be?
I didn't come here to play with an armchair warrior who's never actually been in this position.
That's a great word for it, armchair warrior. Yeah, I was trying to think of something like that. I was thinking of something, but it wasn't coming.
Yeah.
I have not played Prop Hunt, TMNT, and Unicorn Skins. I guess not supposed to be serious, but it's like, man, if you're with the wrong people, if you're playing with the wrong crew, it could just be a horrible experience.
Well, that's what it is. It's just showing top chat right now. Damn. I still have to.
I think it just needs to be shifted up just a little bit.
Well, no, I've already resized it and everything. I just needed to update.
Oh,
yeah. Okay, refresh browser. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, because I've already switched it to live chat, so we're gonna do this. We're gonna... There we go.
Perfect.
No, that's yeah. Everybody gets so serious about COD and shit. I'm like, you guys understand that it's still a fucking game, right?
Yeah, it's like I won't lie. I've gotten angry at games. I haven't broke a controller yet, thankfully, but I can understand getting frustrated, when the immersion's being broken. But I mean, you're coming off of like almost a 12-hour shift, and you want to go be this this fictional gun-toting moron who's just screaming and going, "Oh, guys, don't." It's like, dude, please. I don't need to have that kind of aggressive masculinity this late at night.
It was fun back when I actually did play. It was Modern Warfare 2. Because, the last time I played COD was back when it was on the 360. And I would always play with my best friend and my brother. And they fucking hated me because I do not do competitive.
Yes.
I will play multiplayer and I'll go ahead and we'll go head to head. But you have to understand, even if, unless the game mode is specifically set up to where there are teams, I do not play teams. I play what is going to fucking make me cackle.
That's fair.
They got irritated as hell because no matter how many times I died, I would always run right back up into their face, throw a knife, kill that one, and then the next one I would do something really dumb, like just run up to him and he's like, "Oh, well, I'm not going to shoot you, we're going to team up." I was like, "Yeah?" Just drop a grenade right at our feet. I'm like, well, let's go. Just rocket launchers at point blank range. I don't care.
Yeah, it's funny because, I think part of it is that Warzone was my first Call of Duty game. It was basically my first and last.
Yeah.
I had before that played. Oh gosh. That would have been for PS2. That would have been Medal of Honor Frontline and Rising Sun.
I liked Rising Sun. That was fun.
It was so good. It was the opening with the Battle of Pearl Harbor.
Mm-hmm.
Just throwing you right into that as the tutorial. Ah, great way to start it.
See, I always liked Medal of Honor because it felt more like what I wanted out of a military game. Because, like, okay,
Yes.
I grew out of it. I wanted to be in the military. Like, it was my dream as a kid to be Special Forces. I wanted to be a Green Beret or a Ranger or just, like, something.
Yeah.
Of course, like, 4 spinal surgeries. Fuck that. That dream is down now.
Ugh.
And then eventually I grew out of it because, like, you know, I got into that pacifist mindset where I'm like, okay, I don't mind kicking the shit out of people, but if I'm just, like, going over and, you know, killing all these guys just because someone else told me to, fuck that. Nah.
Exactly. No, I'm with you on that for sure. But yeah, I definitely felt that Medal of Honor had that kind of. They were able to give you that feel like this is not only just a battlefield, you are in a part of time. You are playing through this event.
It had a grittiness to it.
Perfect word for it. Yes, absolutely.
But not like... I mean, when we say dark and gritty, like, everyone's associated that with, like, you know, Christopher Nolan and shit. Like, no. What I'm talking about is, like, grit like a film grain.
Yes.
Like, Medal of Honor felt like you had picked up an old film, and you could feel the sand and the nitrate on it, and then you were just playing through that. Like, there was a respect to it, and when they did add little jokes, it didn't take you out of the game. It was like, hey, here's a little humor, like, have a laugh. We know that the rest of this story is incredibly fucking depressing. You're probably pissed off because you just went, like, through 3 platoons of Nazis to get here. Have a joke.
I've died multiple times using up multiple saves and going through the majority of your ammunition.
Yeah.
Because those were freaking hard games.
And then they give you weapons that, you know, may not be as well known. Like the well rod. I had never heard of a well rod till I played Medal of Honor.
Yes. It became my favorite when I started playing, what was it, Sniper Elite?
Yeah. Oh no, it was absolutely fun, because when I first used it, I was like, this feels underpowered as shit, and it sounds puny.
Yes!
And then you actually hit somebody with it, and you realize, oh shit, this is still a .45 caliber.
This is what it was meant for. Yeah, and even like the little Easter eggs and like even the cheats that you could enter, and it like, sure, you know, like the cheats, like if you have like big hat mod or something like that, or
I think what was it when you became a paratrooper? Which one was that?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know if that was Frontline or not, but let me see.
I think it may have been Frontline, but yeah, like the only cheat I used in that one was that like I always had a soft landing. Because fuck the landing system.
There was Medal of Honor Airborne.
That was it. It was Airborne, yeah.
Aha! I had not played that one.
Yeah, so that one, every mission starts with you being thrown out of a plane. In at least 3 cases, you're actually thrown out of the plane because your plane fucking explodes.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, like every mission you have a landing system. So if you hit too hard, you actually start off with a handicap because you've lost health. You hit too soft, you start out and you have to untangle yourself from your parachute, so you've lost mission time. So you have to get it like a perfect landing. And I was like, you know what, fuck this. It's just turning on the perfect landing cheat because I'm not dealing with this.
That's fair. That is an interesting mechanic to throw in as kind of like a, you're going to start your mission off, but
Yeah.
we're going to throw this little mini game in for you.
Well, especially one of
Spice it up.
the missions was a flak tower. Like you had to assault the flak tower, and it's in the middle of an actual assault on the flak tower. So of course the AA guns are going. They've got full armor. They've got artillery. They've got the whole platoon, and it is almost impossible to get a perfect landing on that. So I'm just like, great. So if I get a hard landing, I'm just going to immediately die because of the health loss. And if I get a soft landing, I'm just going to immediately die because I'm not going to be able to defend myself.
That seems like a major oversight.
Oh no, it was intentional. Because it's like the last level. So like, hey.
Oh. Might as well throw everything at you at the last one.
Lily says, unfortunately, I am the technical difficulty. You are not.
No.
You didn't tell your internet to go down. You weren't gnawing on the wires, as far as I know.
Oh, dear.
You know what? Let's just go into this, because, like... Rascalin can watch the show later. I really just want to get a reaction out of this. So let me go back.
Sure.
Let me go back into studio mode real quick so I can set up this transition real quick.
Sure thing.
Because I played around with this, so I want to make sure that this transition actually works, first off.
Okay.
Okay, transition.
Ah! Very nice.
Yes, so we've got our little news jingle and such, and yeah, we still have our 30-minute timer because the original first version of What the Fuckery was that it was political drama. It was all about Trump and shit. And I set a 30-minute timer because we only wanted 30 minutes to dwell on that. And then once that timer hit, the whole skit was over. But we're not going to bother with that tonight, because I don't think we need 30 minutes to discuss this. So as I said, I was running through Pinterest, actually. And I still find a lot of interesting shit on Pinterest. And then I found a character who DC originally pitched before Black Lightning. So this was going to be their very first black superhero.
I am preparing myself very hard for this.
I don't think you're going to be able to prepare yourself for what I'm about to reveal to you. So their black superhero was named the Black Bomber.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to ask you, what do you think the Black Bomber, what was his whole shtick?
Okay, so off the bat, when I think bomber, I'm thinking if it's going to be comics, it's kind of an older comic. My first guess would be bomber pilot, so possibly wearing the iconic bomber jacket, the hat with the goggles.
You're close, but not quite.
Oh.
So let me set the scene for you. It is 1976. You are Tony Isabella, working at DC, already disillusioned because DC has promised you multiple things so far and has never delivered on these promises. You are now handed 2 scripts. Both of them are labeled Black Bomber. Okay?
Alrighty.
The gist is that it is a Vietnam soldier. He has agreed to go into a government program while in Vietnam to test out an experimental camouflage project. This camouflage project then gives him superpowers. This sounding familiar at all?
Just a little bit.
So what superpowers did it give him? They don't actually say. They didn't get to his powers yet. Okay, so let's talk his secret identity. And I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the interview now so that we can go through this together. The Black Bomber is a fat, bald white man whose only quality is that is horrifyingly racist. So why did they call him the Black Bomber? Well, you remember that camouflage experiment that he was a part of? So as it turns out, when he's under extreme stress, or when he yells Black Power, he turns from a fat, bald white man into an athletic black man with an afro, a tracksuit, basketball shorts, and a gold chain. But he is still, here's the kicker, he's still a horrifying racist because the white version of him and the black version of him do not remember each other. However, they do both have girlfriends of their respective race, and the girlfriends are aware that he transitions between races, and presumably they are aware of each other, they just don't say shit to him about it.
This is one of the dumbest things I've heard.
And in the original script, he was supposed to be so racist that the gag was that every time he helped a person, he wouldn't be able to see them clearly. So it would always be like he's saving a baby in a carriage, or they're wearing a hood, or, you know, they've been kidnapped and they're covered up or something. And then he would go in as his black superhero persona, save the day, then immediately turn back to his white persona and find out that the person he just saved was black, and then react in disgust and racial slurs.
What?
This is a comic DC wanted to put out as a superhero, guys.
Man, what the hell? Come on, that's just... It's not even... And here's the thing. It's not even trying. This is just base level racism. It's no bad.
Right here. Like, I'm not even gonna read it out. I'm just gonna highlight it.
All right, let me take a look at this.
So, like, you know, you guys can read that.
Oh,
Throw your tomatoes at the screens. Do your spit takes. Just whatever. Just remember, I did not write this. This is history.
God, man, it's like this is what sucks when people talk to me about, like, oh, have you seen any superhero movies? And it's just like, I have. The last superhero movie I saw was the Incredible Hulk movie from like the late 2000s. That's the last superhero film I've seen.
The Eric Bana one or the Mark Ruffalo one?
Ooh, good question. Let me find that out before I
Was it
answer.
called Hulk or Incredible Hulk?
Let me see, because yes, those two are, I know, are different.
Yeah.
I think it was the 2003, which was the Eric Bana.
Yeah, that one was, that was a movie that existed.
Yes. Yeah, and then that's basically the last superhero film I've seen. So when my friends have asked me, like, they know I'm a nerd as hell. So they're like, oh, have you seen, the Guardians of the Galaxy? No. Have you seen any of the Thor movies? No. And it's just like, well, what do you like? It's like, I like DC, and they're like, DC? Why? It's just like, and then I read this, and I have to ask myself, why?
So here's my favorite part, because at least Tony had a conscience and a sense of humor. So he says, so I told DC no, I couldn't punch up these scripts and take over the book with the third issue, because they were the most offensive things possible, and if you put them out, people would come to your offices with pitchforks and torches. And they asked, how could you possibly know that? And I told them, 'cause I'll be leading them.
I love that.
It says, we argued about this for 2 weeks until it finally boiled it down to one question. Do you really want DC's first headline black superhero to be a white racist? And then, of course, we got Black Lightning.
Oh! Oh. Man.
Yeah.
DC, just do better.
But hey, look at it this way. DC at least has a team of editors and writers who have a conscience. The internet does not. The internet churns out some of the weirdest shit.
Oh, absolutely.
I think I mentioned this in the group a couple weeks ago, but I don't think you were around, or I didn't give you the full glory of this book, but I did also find this book. We're gonna wait for its transition. Yes! That title is Edged by the Earl King.
Man, what? Wendigo, are you... Oh, man. Come on, man. Gotta be kidding me with this. Oh.
Okay, so let's go down to the description.
It's not even that offensive. It's just honestly the most offensive.
It's not even
thing is
offensive.
Wendigo.
This is just like, you can do better. So let me read out this description. Edged by a monster. It sounds torturous, right? And this particular beast takes me to the brink of my sanity, only to pull back at the last second. He swears it's to help me, but I know the truth. The Earl King wants to make me miserable. Why else would the monstrous man kidnap me, steal me away from Earth, and force me to learn how to be the very thing I despise? Ugh, the nerve of him. And don't even get me started on how he teases me, enticing me, exciting me, enraging me. But all is not well in the Vale. Turns out the Earl King is hiding more than just his evil plan to torment me, and I'm going to find out what's going on. Will I beat Ender at his own game? Or will I swallow my pride so I can experience the pleasure he taunts me with? You named him fucking Ender specifically so you could make that pun in your description, and I hate you for that.
This is the problem. This is the problem I have with the First Amendment.
Yes, we do have the freedom of speech, but the problem is...
We should not have this much freedom of speech.
I support your right to be able to say whatever the fuck you want. What I don't support is the fact that you apparently have forgotten some things should be kept inside.
Almost 200 pages? If it's, I swear to God, if it's written in first person, that's the worst.
Here's the best part.
Oh, what?
That highlighted bit.
The 6 in the series? 6 of these!
6 of these. There's actually more.
Oh my God, I didn't even realize 711 ratings?
Uh-huh.
How many reviews? 50?
And then these are the readers also enjoyed.
Okay, at least the art is decent.
I like how there's like just boss dragons.
Huh. Good point.
An average review of 3.91 with 711 ratings.
You know what? I'll be honest. A near 4-star rating isn't bad. That's you know what? I can't even complain. I don't have a book that's rated that high. I don't have an album
love this
rated
one.
that high. Oh, Jesus.
This entire review is just corkscrew cock.
What? No. No. Oh.
Welcome to our world. And by the way, you can't see it, but I do have on my hotbar a folder named Kindle. And that is exactly what it is filled with, is just shit like this. Because I swore if I could ever manage to find a way to do it, I would start getting these books, and I would either do reviews, or I would put it on Patreon where I would just do read-throughs. Like, I'd get all the permissions and everything.
Right, yeah.
But I feel like when it comes to stuff like this, we're almost obligated to at least take a look about it. But you don't want to do it alone.
Yeah, and I mean, it definitely looks like it's a step above like a My Immortal kind of thing for sure.
I wouldn't say that. Like, I can't see any previews or anything.
That's true. I am kind of judging it by the cover and the...
Yeah, I'm
and
judging
the
by the description.
Yeah.
And like, with my experience, with the amount of books I've read like this, the description usually reflects the same style that it's written in, and that description was pretty rambling.
It was, but at least it was mostly spelled correct if I read that properly.
Mostly spelled correct. Actually, it was. Like, yeah,
Okay.
everything was spelled correctly. I mean, like, I think what annoys me the most is when they use the short sentences to try and, like... They try to give you that cinematic thing where it's supposed to be, like, flashing frame by frame. But it doesn't really work when we don't know anything about where we are.
It's difficult to read a trailer.
I mean, like, you can do it, but you have to be very descriptive.
Yes, or you leave a lot of... enough plot holes to keep the person interested in wanting
Right,
to read.
exactly. But, like, this... You know, the how he teases me, enticing me, exciting me, enraging me. I'm like, I understand these are supposed to be like beat for beat for beat. Like, you're supposed to... It's supposed to be like a heartbeat kind of thing. And if this was a trailer, this is where you would, like, flash the different scenes.
Exactly.
But it doesn't work in a description when I don't know what either of you fuckers look like.
Exactly. All we can guess is from the characters on the book cover.
And I don't trust book covers. Like, okay. Well,
to be
no,
fair, Knox
because,
just
like...
said some things should be judged.
Yes, some things should be judged. And we will judge.
Indeed.
That is the whole point of What the Fuckery. Is that we're going to judge.
Mm-hmm.
We ask what the fuck, and then we just judge.
Hey,
So-
you put it out there. Like, hey, I put my music out there. People judge it by not buying it. That's totally fine.
Exactly, that's it. Like, this is the internet. We're putting all of this out here. People are going to judge. People judge this fucking show and the channel all the time. One of the reviews I got, it was a comment, and like, it was a rambling ass comment. It took me 2 weeks to understand this comic because, like, I was reading it and the syntax didn't work originally.
Ah, I see.
But, like, it was on my Blueprints review where he's like, 8 fucking times. The whole solution was 8 divided by 2, and you kept resetting the puzzle. And I was like, yeah, because I didn't understand what the fuck I was supposed to be doing. It was my first time playing the puzzle. But, like, it doesn't bother me. Because, that's just the nature of the internet.
There's things that there's like a good example of that. Like, I wanted to stream, there's a great game series called The Room which is not the based off of Tommy Wiseau.
We wish.
Yes. But this was essentially a 3D puzzle game. And I was thinking, oh, I'd love to, stream this, but it's like, the problem is I played it so many times that I feel like people would get bored of seeing me doing it over and over and over. But it's one of those games that I could literally play back to back to back through the entire series, like hours if I wanted to. But I'd still screw up constantly, even though I've played the games back to front.
Well, I mean, like, that's how I feel with Blueprints. The whole thing is ruled by RNG. So, you're going to get different rooms and everything every day. But at the end of the day, it's still all luck-based. And it's still just me wandering room to room to room, building it and finding the clues. But if I don't get a new room or a new clue, it's the same shit over and over. That's why episode 3 was done entirely in voiceover, because like I had gotten up early that morning and I went upstairs, and remember I live with my family. So I went upstairs and I figured, okay, well, I'll get a couple hours of playthrough in, and I'm going to go ahead and record it because I can't talk, but I want to make sure that, if I do find a new room or something, that when I record the next video, I can be like, oh, hey, I found this and this, but that was it. Like, the rest of the map was entirely the same. I ended up getting new rooms, new puzzles, new information, found out how to open one of the doors to the antechamber. Like, I made a massive amount of progress. And I was like, well, shit. I can't just release this entirely silent. That's boring as hell. So it's like, well, I'll just do the whole thing in voiceover.
It's funny because I've kind of toyed with that idea, because I used to stream a lot of Wrestling Empire, which is like, it's kind of a throwback to the old N64 style wrestling games.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I'd love to, like, I've tried to do live commentary over it, but I stumble all the time because it's like, I don't always remember the move names. There's a lot of moves in that game, too. I mean, and of course, I could say the moves that they're called in the game. That's not always the moves that they're called in real life. So I'd have to work and translate that in my head. And it's like, oh god, this is too much work to try and do this on the fly. Definitely would love to try and get back into doing that, because that was fun, doing the little career mode and then either doing it as a wrestler or as running a promotion.
Right, exactly. Like, I still want to do a group game night on Howling, where it's just us playing something like Raft or something and just having fun.
Yeah, oh absolutely.
Because like Raft can be boring as hell. Because it's a slow game. Let's just admit that. It's a slow fucking game. But when you have the right people, and the energy's right, it can be fun as hell.
Very much so. Yeah, absolutely.
Especially when you have that one moron who insists on swimming out to sea to grab the supplies, forgetting, hey, there's a fucking shark there.
Leroy!
I am that moron. I will fess up. That's me.
Funny because I have so many games that like I used to buy games by the pack through Humble Bundle and stuff like that. I have all these games that I've never really touched, like Destiny 2. Like I haven't touched Destiny 2.
I prefer Warframe.
I have Warframe, I think. Let me see.
I mean, you have Destiny 2, thus by proxy, you have Warframe.
I do have Warframe. Oh, there's another great one. This would actually be a fun one, I think, if we all played, called Who's Your Daddy?
I know that one. I always wanted to play that.
That would be a fun one to do for sure.
Yeah, like that That was big a few years ago, back when like the height of Jacksepticeye and Markiplier.
Oh yes, very much so.
I mean, I don't know if YouTube censorship will let you get away with it anymore.
I don't know. It's one way to find out. See, there is one game in here that I've been wanting to play, and unfortunately, I think I'm too stupid to do it alone.
Oh.
It is Total Extreme Wrestling, which is a text-based wrestling simulator.
Text-based.
Yes, so you run a company, you hire on the talent. There's mods that you can get that have different decades and from different major events that happened in wrestling, and you can start from there, start with your own promotion or take control of a major promotion or minor promotion and see how things could go differently.
That could be fun.
Yeah, it looks super cool. The problem is I can get it to run. I just can't figure out how to do the dang thing. It's always like, oh, you need to hire this person, hire this person. It's just like, there's 15 buttons in front of me. Can you highlight one?
I mean, hell, I wouldn't be mad if we were just to play something like Supermarket together.
Yeah. Absolutely. The other thing that I thought would be fun, and this one I thought about when I got home from work, was Tabletop Simulator.
Funny you should say that. Because I'm pretty sure I did get a few games on Tabletop Simulator.
Oh. And Knox is recommending Repo, which I have seen, but I have not played.
They never created a game. Oh, the different Repo.
Yes.
I don't know if I want to play that one. I'm not good with jump scares, but also just like the art style is iffy.
Let me take a look at it.
But yeah, that does lead me into the whole. I did want to do movie reviews, and Repo was like the first movie that I wanted to really push.
Ah, gotcha. I haven't seen Repo.
I can always show you Repo, or what is the other one that I wanted to do? Oh, it's a movie called The Surge.
I've heard that. I've heard of that, but I don't think I probably haven't seen it.
Okay, so it has 3 names. It's one of those movies.
Ah, okay.
So if you saw it on cable and the DVD release in America, it's The Surge. If you have the pre-release and the digital copy, it's The Source. And then if you're in Europe, it's The Secret Craft.
Ah, okay. Interesting. Let me see if I can find. Was that from? Was it 2002?
Yes.
Okay, I had to check because there's one from 2020.
Well, I was gonna say, for those of you who among us who watch the stream and are followers of the big movie critics, you'll know exactly what I say when I say it's an asylum film.
Oh, that's all you had to say. Oh, okay.
But I mean, we're not talking like good asylum film, because there are some decent asylum films.
Oh,
no,
yes.
This is somewhere between Sharknado and Birdemic.
I see. Okay.
And I say that because the visual effects are decent, the acting at times is amazing, but the story makes no goddamn sense.
Oh, okay, I see. I know I thought I've seen at least one or two Asylum films, but I can't for the life of me think of which ones they were.
Yeah, it sounds like an Asylum film. I swore I've seen them, but I don't remember anything about them.
Exactly. It was one of those, like, mega shark films that they've done.
Yeah.
Swear it was one of those.
Well, I know Nox is here, and I know that you and I would love to play more Azalea, but with only 3 people, I don't feel like we can do a Cards Against night again.
It is kind of tricky to do.
Although I'm loving these decks that I didn't know were a thing.
Oh, you found some of the new ones?
Well, I mean, like, I never actually went into the explore decks, so like I would always just hit high offensiveness and just leave it at that.
Ah, I see.
So like I'm missing out on cards like an erotic Star Trek fanfiction where all the characters are furries, like Kirk is an ocelot or something.
I was gonna say, man, I doubt anybody's thought of that. And I'm like, well, you know what?
I mean, it's on a white card, so obviously someone has.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I cannot, for the life of me, find out which film it was, for sure, that I've seen. But I know it was one of the Mega Shark films that I've seen from Asylum.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm thinking of Trauma films.
Everyone's seen a Trauma film.
Maybe that's the one I was thinking of. I used to watch a lot of. I watched a lot of like old bad films. I also watched a lot of old good films, like from Turner Classic Movies and such. But I love the bad stuff, like Plan 9 from Outer Space, Beast of Yucca Flats. It's another good one. Oh, was it Scream Bloody Horror? Scream? No, that's Scream Bloody Gore. That's from Death. No. What was that one? No, that one.
I kind of want to watch Dark Floors.
Oh, what's that one?
That one is a horror movie made by the Finnish metal band Lordi.
I've heard of that.
Yes.
I watched a review on that.
I really just want to watch it because from what I've seen, it's another one of those, like, it looks amazing. It's just confusing as hell.
Yes, exactly, yeah. But man, oh my god, I haven't heard of Lordi in ages. So I can't find the Trauma film, but it did remind me of another film, which was Bucket of Blood.
I remember Bucket of Blood.
From 1959, yeah.
Yes.
There used to be, oh god, this is gonna really put me back. There was on iTunes, there used to be a podcast called The Cult of UHF. And they would put out public domain films, mostly horror and some kung fu films.
Mm-hmm.
And for free. So I would just be watching, like, I'm trying to remember, there was that one, Bucket of Blood, which was a really fun one. There was a couple other ones, and then they had The Cult of Kung Fu, which was their spin-off channel. And that's where I got my kung fu fix from.
Yes, for everyone already thinking it, we know kung fu.
Oh, somewhere my black belt's around here. Not in kung fu though. But yeah, I used to love just downloading all these little videos, and I wonder if there's still an archive of that site left. Because they also had... Oh my god, I found it! Oh, it's still up. Last video was posted 2012. Wow, it lasted quite a while. Scream Bloody Murder. That was the one I was trying to think of. Does it actually play? Item not available anymore. Oh well.
Of course.
At least I have the list of them now. There was... God, man, I'm having a nostalgia trip going over all these old movies that I've watched. Jesse James meets Frankenstein's daughter.
Oh, I heard of that one.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Okay, so remember, I'm from the classic YouTube era. I was around when YouTube started. So, like, I was there for Nostalgia Critic being big, Cinema Snob being big, and then we transitioned into, Film Brain, the Blockbuster Buster, Irate Gamer. I have been around for Count Jacula.
That one must have passed me by.
Count Jacula was fun. He was offbeat, and then for a while he just, I don't know, something changed and he got like really preachy, and now he mostly focuses on like the satanic elements of his persona. I'm like, yeah, you know what, this ain't as fun anymore.
I still remember, this is really gonna put me back even further. There was, before YouTube, there used to be, I think it was Google Video.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember very vividly downloading full episodes of Mystery Science Theater 3000 to watch on my little iPod. And I was just having an absolute time, and then it disappeared. No more Google videos. Can't download all these videos anymore. Now there's YouTube. Oh, cool. I can watch videos on here. Can I download them? No. Right.
And then when they finally did make it to where you could download videos, yeah, we're putting that behind a paywall.
Exactly!
Hey, does anybody remember YouTube Red?
Oh, God. What even was that? I don't even remember anymore.
It was supposed to be like YouTube's answer to Netflix and such, where it was like, oh, we're going to make our own shows featuring the YouTubers that you know and love. And I was like, yeah, no.
I remember that now. I didn't know who anybody was on those shows.
It was like PewDiePie, Markiplier. I think they approached Jack for a series. And he was like, yeah, no, I'm just... It's not my thing.
Yeah, well, now we have the wonderful minds of Mr. Beast to entertain us.
Let's not get into Mr. Beast.
That's fair. I could go off on a rant, but I won't.
Oh, we could definitely go off. It was something I decided when I started doing the channel more regularly, is that I don't want to be one of those channels that just constantly commentates on the drama. But yeah, like Mr. Beast and them, Jesus.
Yeah, I think that's about sums it up pretty well.
And sometimes it's like, look, it's not the drama that I want to focus on because, you know, I subscribe to the philosophy of another YouTuber who is actually she's a filmmaker and a professional musician, so like YouTube's her hobby. But her channel name is Swoop. And yes, I call out a lot of channels on this channel. I don't give a shit. I will shamelessly promote the people that I enjoy. But yeah, Swoop's entire tagline is it's not drama, it's dangerous. And I agree with that because if we just keep acting like this is all just, oh, it's dramatic bullshit, it's not actually going to affect us, well, then it builds up and builds up and builds up. That's how shit fucking happens, guys.
Very true.
If you
Very
keep
good
ignoring
point.
it gets to a point where shit happens. Like, okay, let's dip into that real quick. Let's go back to Colleen Ballinger and all that shit. Do you think we would have gotten the toxic gossip train meme if somebody had just called her the fuck out the first time she had a child go on stage and put their hand down her pants to get candy?
Oh, hold on, wait a minute, hold on. Is that ukulele lady?
Uh-huh.
Oh God. Okay. See, that's all I know her for was she apologized and she now. Oh
See,
God, I didn't know about any of that.
I only knew her from Miranda Sings. Like, I never followed her because just the Miranda Sings, I watched like a minute of one video back when it first started being popular. I hated it. I couldn't stand that shit. And then like all this came out and the, you know, the ukulele apology, and I was like, holy shit. Okay. This is what it's like. Either I dodged a bullet or there was something there that, you know, some part of you knew.
Right, because I remember vividly the backlash from the ukulele video,
Yeah. Oh, look!
but I had no idea what she did.
I was just DM'd.
Oh.
Now Rascalin will be...
Aha!
So now that we've already done the part that I wanted to surprise them with, and the reaction's no longer fresh...
Well, too bad.
It's okay. We'll just do like the abridged version when he gets here.
Yeah, of course. Oh, I will have to do a review perhaps next time I am on here, because I got a little gem at the dollar store.
Oh. Was it the Good Kush?
That wasn't at the dollar store, that was over at the gas station actually, but $20 for two rolls.
Damn, man. If you lived in Arizona, I would just like send you over to a friend of mine. Just be like, nah, you need a better deal.
Yeah, that was actually what they were selling in the gas station, funny enough.
Yeah, I know. And my friend just worked at a dispensary, so I'm like, I'm sure we can get you a better deal.
Oh, I'm sure. Oh, gotta be better than the prices here. But as I was saying, at the Dollar General today, I saw something that really jumped out at me, and I had to get it. And it is a DVD of 7 episodes from the live action and cartoon Super Mario Brothers TV shows.
The Super Mario Brothers Super Hour?
Yes.
Yeah.
I could not believe it. So I said, you know what? I gotta jump on this. It's $5. I'm grabbing it. So I'm going to have to give a little review on that after I watch that, and hopefully I get to see the best portrayal of Mario, done by the man himself, Captain Lou Albano.
There are so many good things in this world.
Very true. Yes. Still going through some of those episodes to see if there's any more of those movies that I need to watch again.
Dude, what is with all the furry dicks?
You and I are looking for very different things.
Oh no, I'm still on the Cards Against website.
Oh, I see.
It's just like every third deck is like, it's a furry deck. I'm like, but why? Speaking as a furry, I'm just gonna be like, you know what? Fucking furries.
And the first video from this podcast of movies that I used to watch was back in 2005. 20 years ago.
I feel like adding the Disney deck would just be hilarious with as offensive as the other decks are.
Oh, absolutely. Gotta keep them guessing.
Like, I have at least 4 hentai decks I just added, so having Cruella de Vil's Taylor pop up after that.
Oh, God. The other thing that I've been working on is a little handheld emulator that I bought for myself.
Oh, really?
I was lucky enough to buy it before the tariffs hit because I got this for about $80. Right now they're going for about $120, $150. So I'm really happy I got it now.
So I haven't tried, I guess that's pronounced cluttered. But, yeah. I liked Ixie for a while, but I don't know. The reason I like Azalea's now is because it's less restrictive. Because Ixie in that uses official Cards Against Humanity packs, whereas Azalea's is just people throwing shit at the wall. And you get the most out of left field shit. Like we were saying the other night. For some reason, when we were playing the other night, Chrissy just kept getting all the Nazi cards, and I kept getting religion and pedophilia. And I was just, apparently, the game does not think highly of us.
It was very bizarre, and I was very worried of coming off as some kind of like weird, like, oh, you know, I'm not a fan of them. Fingers crossed behind my back. Like, no, that is not.
I'm totally not a Nazi. I just keep playing every Nazi card ever.
Every single card in the frickin' deck.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's why we always make the disclaimer. It's like, it's a game. We know it's offensive. That's the entire point. You know, thankfully for right now, we're a small channel, so we're not going to get into too much shit.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny because when I was in college, I played a round of Cards Against Humanity with a group of people who I didn't really know, but I figured, you know, this is a decent way to pull an icebreaker. And one of the cards ended up being, I think it was Auschwitz. So I know that's one of the cards that's in the deck.
Mm-hmm.
And this girl just got really pissed off because I laughed. I'm like, hey, it's Cards Against Humanity. It's just like, people died. I'm like, I thought we were playing a game here. Hold on a second. Like, yes, it's bad, but the whole point of the game is that it's offensive.
Okay, I have long said it. If you can't make a joke out of it, then, you know, you're never going to really be able to understand it. It's like, it's the same reason I don't use slurs, like, except for very, 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 very niche contexts, usually a sexual one. Fuck you, it's not my thing, but, you know, people ask for it, I indulge, and then I tell them to fuck off and leave. But the thing is, the way I see it is that words will always have power. We all know this. But if you are constantly saying, you can't say that word, you can't say that word, human nature is that if you keep forbidding it, they're going to keep doing it. And if you don't talk about the word and why you're not supposed to say it, then these kids, like the new generations, they're not going to understand the weight of the word. All they're going to understand is, hey, this word has power. It makes people uncomfortable. It gets them angry when I say it. I can use that to get things and get a reaction out of people. Like, you can't reclaim a word until you have thoroughly discussed the history and you understand what that word was used for.
And I hate to be the person to say this, but I was definitely one of those people who was like, oh, you shouldn't say that. Oh, you can't say that. I was definitely one of those people because that's how I was raised. You know, you treat everyone with respect. You don't say these words unless you truly mean them. And it's like, I followed that to a T, and I was starting to get really upset that people weren't also following it. I'm like, but we're not allowed to say those things. Oh, we don't give a shit. It's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Hold on. So I had to kind of learn that, you know, people aren't going to really care what, you know, what they say, you know. So I figured I might as well be careful with what I say and just be mindful of what I say.
Exactly, that's it. Like, you're never going to be able to control what other people do, but you can control yourself.
Exactly, and that was the hardest part for me, because growing up with that kind of vigilant streak, for some reason or another, I was just like, oh, I have to be a good example, and other people, you know, maybe be a good example for other people to follow, and it's just like, no, I had to grow out of that, and it took a while. It took a very long time, but I realize now that, you know, people will say and do whatever they feel. It's the reaction to it that is the most important thing.
Exactly.
And I've gotten to a point where it's like, I've been on this planet long enough. If you say something, or you call me something, and it's like out of pocket, and I know you mean it, I know better than to try and pick a fight. It's like, you know what? No, I'm out. Out.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna deal with this. But it's like the people who are taking this so deeply, like I used to. And it's like I can't live like that anymore. I can't, like, I overanalyze enough as it is.
Yeah, and if you're constantly trying to, you know, dictate or push this, you know, purity idea, this standard on everybody else, you're just burning yourself out. And all you're doing is telling them, hey, you're going to get a hell of a reaction out of me for acting like this. Keep doing it.
Yeah, exactly. That is exactly right. It is something I'm glad that I worked out, mostly worked out of my system, but it's like, I don't know. I don't know, man. I just hope, at the end of the day, I hope I'm making sense, and I hope I'm sticking to the point.
Since when has that ever mattered?
Yeah, well, yeah. I'm trying to be a better person, so I'm trying to at least try to finish a thought. At least try to finish a train of thought, I should say. Unfortunately, I decided to lay a bunch of sticks on the tracks before I even got there. Derailed myself. What do I do? Ah, shit. But yeah, it's Cards Against Humanity is one of those games where it'll bring out some people, and it will really push some people back to their shell.
Right, exactly. Like, I've used Cards Against as a gauge for, like, a person's... I don't want to say personality. But, like, definitely, it's a vibe check.
Oh, that's a good way to put it. Which is funny because there was a card game that I got about a year or so ago, because the friends that I hang out with occasionally love card games, and they were trying to get a poker night together. And I was like, well, you know what, I'll play poker. I don't really have the money to throw in there, but I thought I'd bring along some other card games, since that's kind of the theme. And usually my kind of card games that I bring over are like Trivial Pursuit, because I'm just a complete, utter, old-fashioned nerd.
I have at least 7 decks of Trivial Pursuit.
Oh, they're so freaking good. They're the best. One of my favorite games. But I got a game. Where was that? Either Walgreens or Walmart, because I was just trying to grab something quick, and it was called Hella Awkward. And I thought, you know what, that could be interesting. And it was supposed to like be a little bit thought-provoking, make people talk and converse, with each other. Not gonna lie, I should have read it at face value. It was a hella awkward game. Very, very strange personal questions, political questions, things to do with the political climate of whatever year you were reading that in, and it's like, I was like, I am so sorry I brought this. I apologize. This game is ass. So now it is sitting on a shelf, and I haven't touched it since. Friendship ending game. It was. I wouldn't say it was friendship ending, but it definitely was a mood killer.
It definitely makes you look at the friend who brought it and just goes, what the fuck?
Yeah, like, you paid money for this? Actually, let me see if I can pull up any of the cards that come out of it. Okay, yeah, it looks like there's a couple that I can see. Here's one. Rank these in order of priority: personality, looks, and money.
Okay.
That's not bad. That's not too bad.
That's like that middle-aged white guy trying to liven up the office party.
That's exactly what this game is. It's like, yeah, here's another one. Would you accept Okay. Would you accept below average sex if everything else in the relationship was perfect?
I mean, who's average?
Right. It's a really a very poor game to bring if you're like, oh yeah, let's bring a card game around. Like now I have to question my relationship? Oh, this isn't fun at all. So yeah, that's why it is going to sit on that shelf, probably for forever, for the future, unless I decide to donate it.
I mean, I have exploding kittens.
That's a lot more fun. That is insanely more fun than this. Just going through more of these cards, and I'm looking at this going, God, why did I buy this?
Oh god, there's an entire pack in German.
Of the exploding kittens, or
On the website, the Cards Against.
oh God.
Why did I just see Antifa and Bad Dragon, like, right next to each other?
Oh Lord.
The therapist one? What therapist one?
Oh. Ooh, 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 ooh. I need to see a therapist deck. I finished that sentence because I already have
I
one.
was about to say, like, I'm pretty sure you already see a therapist.
Number 8.
Exploding Kittens as a therapist deck? Okay.
Oh. Interesting. 'Cause I think if anything needs a therapist deck, it would be Cards Against Humanity.
Just gonna.
Definitely needs a Freudian deck.
I'm just gonna screenshot this and send this to you in a DM.
Alrighty.
I mean, if you want to link it, go ahead and link it.
Let's take a look. Yeah, that's not gonna be able to show up on the stream.
Yeah, we're never playing that deck, but it's good to know that we have it, just in case, I suppose. Oh look, and half the links are broken.
Yeah, it tracks. Jeez. So yeah, I've been building this little emulator handheld. The
Yeah.
amount of games I have on here, I think, let me double check. I think I almost have 5,000 games on here.
Hey, we have a gas.
How's it going?
Hello.
Oh, I was playing a game that I forgot I had this afternoon, and completely lost track of time.
I mean, that's fine.
It happens.
We've just been sitting here discussing the horrible history of DC Comics and everything else.
Oh yeah.
Oh, well, there's a lot of that.
Well,
Also-
like I said, we went over it earlier in the episode. I wanted to wait until you and Rask were here because I really wanted the reactions, like the pure and unfiltered from everybody all at once. But
Oh,
we didn't know what
Well-
was going on, so we can do the abridged version.
well, the thing is one thing that a lot of people don't realize is, have you ever heard of Doc Savage?
I believe I have, yes.
Sounds
Okay.
familiar.
So Doc Savage, I'm not sure. think, if I'm not mistaken, he might have been purchased by DC eventually, but he wasn't a DC comic. I don't think. Anyway, basically, he was kind of what? My usual. Anyway, so he was basically he was kind of like Superman before Superman existed, but he didn't wear tights. He had super strength and stuff like that. He was, you know, but he basically was like an adventurer. This comes from like the early. He's a character that comes from the early like pulp era of comics and stuff.
Yeah.
So like you're talking like the 20s and 30s here, right? And he but yeah, no. And the thing is characters like him and the Shadow were basically like Batman and Superman before Batman and Superman were ever a thing. You know. And actually for the longest time were vastly more popular than those two are now. Well, we're vastly more popular than those two were at the time. Nowadays, they're like the number 1 and number 2 comic book characters, with I think number 3 being Spider-Man.
It's funny you mentioned, you said the Shadow, correct?
Yes, the Shadow.
I still need to listen to these. It's unfortunately a problem I have of collecting things and then not using them. I have a collection of radio plays of the Shadow from, what is that, 1937? That seems a little bit too old, but that can't be too far off.
No, those characters were made even earlier than that.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that absolutely tracks them. Yeah, because I have the first 2, actually, no, I take it back. 1, 2, 3, 4, looks like there's 4 of them, narrated by Orson Welles.
Yeah, and I think, what was his name? Yeah, so, trying to remember. So Doc Savage originally showed up in something called Doc Savage magazine, which is basically what, because comic books weren't really called comic books until years later. They were just considered magazines, like really cheap magazines, right?
Yeah.
And yeah. But I think he was created. But anyway, he basically did he did a lot of stuff that early Superman stories used to do. But he was a human. But he was like really smart, really strong, really fast. You know, all this stuff. He was basically superhuman, but he was like an adventurer. And he'd go around, and he had like, I think he had like 5 or 6 people that worked with him that were part of his team, and they'd go on adventures all around the world. And it was stuff like, but it was like, it was like, you know, adventure, but it had a little bit of sci-fi and a little bit of like fantasy into it. You know, like there wasn't like wizards throwing magic missiles and fireballs at people, but like, you know, you had weird like voodoo cults and, you know, other tribal stuff going on. Meanwhile, there was, you know, bizarre sci-fi stuff happening, not like spaceships and everything, but, you know, things that were just, you know, a little bit ahead of their time given the current technology at the time.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at some of the covers right now, and it is very fascinating for sure. It's like It's got almost this Indiana Jones kind of feel to it.
Yeah, think that Doc Savage is kind of like I said, he's kind of like one part Superman, one part Indiana Jones, one part like Mr. Fantastic, just without the stretching. I'm talking about the intellect.
Ah, gotcha.
But yeah, no, but like characters like him in the Shadow really set the stage for a lot of what's now, considered, for a lot of the comic book heroes that, that exist today.
That is really cool.
Oh yeah. Let me see. Let me see something. I want to check one thing out real quick. No, come on. Gotta give me. Where is this? Let me see. Let me see real quick. Yeah, so Superman actually came out 4 years after Doc Samson did.
Oh, wow.
Because he didn't come out until Action Comics in June of 1938, whereas Doc Savage came out, 5 years. He came out in Doc Savage Magazine #1 in March of 1933. So, and the thing is a lot of this stuff, like these two characters started in their own respective like comics or magazines, but like there were other characters, not nearly as famous. I couldn't mention some of their names because even I don't know all of them. But there was like there's stuff that dates back to radio dramas that go back even before this, into like even the late 20s.
No kid, like I am a huge fan of audio dramas and radio plays.
Oh yeah, no.
Oh,
I actually got a hold a long time ago. I don't know if I still have it because I've moved several times since then. But I actually used to have for the longest time. I had on, I recorded on cassette tape because there used to be these morning radio DJs in my area, in the LA area where I'm from, called Mark and Brian on one of the radio stations. And they were mostly comedy, rarely ever played music, but they got into this, like, they had this phase where they got really into like some like old school radio stuff. And one of the things they got a hold of was the original Orson Welles recording of War of the Worlds.
oh yes.
And they played it live on their show, no commercials or anything. They literally blocked out the entire time and made sure there were no commercials. I think they actually had a sponsor for some of it, which is how they were able to do it, right?
Oh, that's wonderful.
But they did it, and I literally, as soon as it started, I literally just hit record on my stereo, and I recorded the whole thing. Again, I don't know if I have that, where that tape is, or what happened to it, but I had it for a long time, and I've listened to it a dozen times over, and it is really something. Though, that's not as big a loss, because if you go on like YouTube, I think you can actually find that audio play.
Oh yeah, it's I believe it is on YouTube.
Well, I think it's old enough to be in public domain at this point.
Oh, it absolutely is. Side note,
So,
I'll be right back.
Sure.
so yeah, there is a ton of like I've listened to a ton of this stuff, and as much as I am into like a lot of modern day pop culture stuff, there are some old radio dramas that are just they're something else, and you can't. There's nothing like them as far as entertainment goes nowadays.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's funny that you mentioned that, because it's like I am so kind of a bit voluntarily removed from pop culture, just because it got to me a little too much, especially in college, trying just to keep up with everything. And I was just like, no, you know what? I'm set in my way. I'm set in my style. And a big part of my childhood was listening to old time radio at night on the weekends. And there would be an hour or so of old time radio. And I think this was on Sunday nights, because I remember I always stayed up late on Sunday nights, because they would have the 1 hour block of the old time radio, and then right at midnight, it's my favorite show, which was Ken Nordine doing word jazz.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I could listen to that man for an eternity and not get bored.
I've never been a huge fan myself of like vocal jazz and stuff like that. However, I love instrumental jazz. And same thing with me. There's a local radio station from one of the colleges in my area, and on like same thing, Sunday nights. Actually, a lot of nights, but mostly on Sundays. They had a longer block of it, but they literally just had like full 4 hours of jazz at night, and so I just sit there in my room with the lights off, going to sleep at night, just listening to a boom 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 boom, just, and that was really something else.
That is a vibe for sure. Yeah. Ken Nordine, he did a lot of spoken word and poetry. He did some songs as well, some jazz songs. And then I do remember it would either be before Ken Nordine or sometimes replaced Ken Nordine was another gentleman by the name of Joe Frank. And just a very unsettling storyteller.
Yeah. So that actually reminds me. So when I was a little kid, my mom and my dad, they wanted me to take a nap when I was at my grandma's house during the day while they were at work before I started school. Right? Before I was old enough to go to school. So this is when I'm like 2, 3, 4 years old, right?
Yeah.
Well, one of the things they did to make sure I would take a nap at my grandparents' place is they keep me up really fucking late at night. Well, back then when I was a little kid, this is back in the 80s, so when you stayed up that late at night, there were, they had stuff like the Midnight Horror Movie or Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, and they'd show like old black and white horror movies.
Yes.
And some sci-fi, but mostly a lot of old black and white, stuff. And like, one of the first movies I ever saw, I remember, was the old black and white version of Blob. But the thing is,
I think I've seen the black and white version.
Well, there's an 80s one that a lot of people know, but there's an old black and white version. I think it's from the 50s.
Oh.
So the 80s version is actually a remake of that 50s movie. So I used to. So I used to. And then when I got to school, when I started school, and my mom's like, "You gotta go to bed." I was like, "But I want to stay up and watch Elvira." You know, like I was little, and I really got into old horror movies and stuff.
That's awesome.
And actually, one of my favorites is a movie from, I want to say it's 1953, 54, something like that. It was made by Warner Brothers. It's called Them. It's about giant ants in the New Mexico desert.
Why does that sound familiar to me?
Oh, you've probably seen, you might have seen footage of it in other TV shows or other stuff. It's been used a lot.
Was that 1954?
Like I say, year 53, 54, something like that.
Okay.
It has James R. Ness and James Whitmore, I think. So,
Very interesting. Okay, I've actually never seen this one.
and what I really like about it, and it's not for everyone, but what I really like about it is it starts off really slow. Not just really quiet. I mean eerily quiet movie. Like there's in the beginning, outside of a few like a couple like bum bum bum, but you know, like shock value kind of fanfare things that they do in those old movies.
Yeah.
There was no music. There's this entire scene where these two New Mexico state policemen are looking over the remains of this guy's highway store, the little like convenience store or whatever on the highway there.
Yeah.
And the whole place, like one of the walls is torn out, the place is busted up. There's no cash stolen, but a bunch of sugar's been taken. All this stuff, right? No music. There's absolutely no music at all. And all you have is this really harsh lighting where there's this one hanging lamp off on one side, and you can hear the howling wind in the background, like outside. Like there's literally a sandstorm going on outside, and there's wind and there's sand and everything going on. And it's just all over the place. And these two guys are looking through there, and it's genuinely creepy because they didn't add extra music to try to amp up the tension or do anything. The setting itself was creepy enough. You're like, oh my god, is something gonna pop out and get these two guys? You know? And you don't know. And it's crazy.
That sounds like something I need to watch because I love stuff like that where it's like you can feel.
Hello, Wrestling.
Okay,
Hey.
well, we good?
So I did notice the echo, so I'm gonna try and unfuck that.
Oh, that's what I was hearing.
Yeah, apparently
Yeah.
the mic sensitivity was set up a hell of a lot, and nobody said anything. So I didn't notice it until I started monitoring on my phone rather than on the laptop.
Well, I didn't hear it up until just a minute ago.
Same here.
Yeah, like once I started fucking with the mic levels, it cleared up. So
Okay.
like it was really
Well,
odd,
hey!
though, because like I don't think it was my mic, because I was muted the entire time I was gone, so there was no way it was picking it up. So I don't know what I did that cleared it up.
Who knows? Who
Also,
knows?
hello,
Maybe it was
Raz,
just
how are you?
yo.
Hopefully
Hello.
my mic is working.
Yeah, your mic.
I think it
your
is.
mic's working fine.
Woot. Cool.
Just gotta screw with the cans again, get everybody back where they're supposed to be.
So we had, so up until now, they were talking about some old comic book stuff. Now that old comic book stuff took us into old radio dramas, which also took us into old movies.
You know, we still have radio dramas, at least on my local station that I'm at.
Not where I live.
And wow, yeah, that echo, wow, knocks me out.
Yeah. Because I'm hearing everything, and then it's like there's a full-on like
Yeah,
3-second
that's
delay.
probably because my phone's like right there now, so that's
Oh,
definitely
gotcha.
probably getting picked up by the mic.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, no, we don't. But like, we don't have where I live in California. They don't have old like any radio dramas or anything like that at all. It's with the only exception being like some really tiny like college radio station that no one's ever heard of. That's the only thing I can think of that might have that. But outside of that, it just doesn't. It doesn't exist where I live.
See, I have the nice little advantage that here in Illinois, we have community radio, which isn't too different from college radio.
Yeah.
In some ways, but the nice part is we basically get to use it, you know, to do unusual things. Like, we had a guy who did nothing but video game music.
Okay, I can see I'm pretty sure there's a market for that.
Absolutely is.
And actually, you look at some video game music nowadays, and that shit is like on par, if not better, than what you get in movies.
It is. As a longtime MMO player, I've seen good and so-so music in both World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
But there are others too.
Well, Final Fantasy, especially the single-player ones, they especially as the games have gotten, closer to our current time period. The older games not as much, but like the newer and newer ones, the music on some of those is pretty damn good.
It is, but something going on in the multiplayer ones, which you might get a kick out of, they are putting so much into the music that they started grabbing the English voice actors to start singing along on soundtracks and certain areas. The last expansion, there is a whole zone with vocal music going on, done by an English voice actor in the game.
That's cool.
It's definitely been something different, and I've been very much enjoying the music in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
No.
it's been like a constant wall of talking, and all of a sudden it's winding down.
Hey, well, I mean, so like when I work on my art and stuff, it's like nonstop, like heavy metal, and that is what inspires me to do like the artwork that I do and like write the stories that I write is like are like those songs, right? And thing is, if I ever had, whether it's live action or animated, if I ever got not only one of my comics published, but also got made into something like either an animated film or something live action, because just how it feels in my mind, I don't want generic orchestral stuff as the background music for my stuff. I want it to be a mix of orchestral and heavy metal. You know what I mean?
Like the Castlevania soundtrack when they redid it every so often. Dracula Battle, Perfect Selection came out in the 90s, put out by Konami as tribute to their own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Bloody Tears became even more popular as a result.
Oh yeah. Though I still am I'm still a big fan of the titular song Vampire Killer, as much as most people are way into Bloody Tears.
Vampire Killer from the original Castlevania 1.
Well, that I like that one, but I've heard plenty of more modern takes on it. But like any version of it to me is good.
My favorite one is oddly enough neither Vampire Killer nor Bloody Tears, but it gets me some weird looks. It's from the same game as Vampire Killer.
Oh,
Wicked Child.
that is a good one.
It's a very good one. I often hear Vampire... when Konami put out their classical version, they actually made a medley of Vampire Killer and Wicked Child.
Another one is similar title, and it might even be a play on the original Wicked Child, but I think it's something like it was supposed to be one of Alucard's original themes. It was supposed to be it was something like Cursed Child or Cursed something or other, but it was one of Alucard's original themes all the way back to Castlevania 3 when he first shows up.
Dracula's Curse. I still have my copy for 8-bit. With that little thing on the side, on the front that says, "Win a trip to Dracula's castle." Fun fact, they were actually sending you to Brahm's castle, which is based on novel Dracula, although historic Dracula, assuming we're talking about Vladislav Tepes, would have been Hunadora Castle. Yes, Tepes III, you are correct. Of Wallachia, not Transylvania.
Well, I mean, the area became Transylvania eventually, but yes, it was originally Wallachia. Part of it was another country called, I think it was Moldovia. And then there was a third one, because there were 3 separate smaller nations that ended up making what is modern-day Transylvania.
You mean modern-day Romania?
Or Romania, yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say,
there
was very much there.
But like
Dracula actually didn't really step foot in Transylvania as we know it too much. That was reserved for fictional Dracula.
Yeah.
Fun fact, there is a video game called Wallachia where you are literally out to fight the armies of Vlad Tepes III on behalf of Sultan Mehmed II.
Huh.
That would be fun.
It's an interesting one.
Oh, oddly enough, did you know so Konami has this Konami has a habit, especially in the 16-bit and later games, of anytime you get near Dracula's castle or the entrance to Dracula's castle, it might be, sometimes it's at the front, sometimes it's a room or two in, but almost always inside of Castlevania there is going to be a room or a walk-up area where if you look in the background you're going to see a bunch of people impaled on like spears and pikes and stuff like that.
I'll have to take a better look. Like, I remember the big walk-up area that 4 comes to mind because, as you said, 16-bit. But do you remember in 2 when you finally get to Dracula's castle?
Yeah.
And there are no monsters. None. Right up until you get to the room where you burn all the parts.
Yeah.
And it was like that was masterful, combined with that particular musical score. That made me more afraid than any number of actual quote-unquote horror games.
Yeah, no, another good one. Actually, so 2 things here real quick. So without the part I was talking about, the people on like spears and pikes and stuff, in Symphony of the Night, the first room where you meet Death and he takes all your stuff away and you have to start the game proper at that point, the entire background is nothing but a war zone with people impaled. But also, talking about creepy stuff, and the game was never meant to be a horror game or everything, but the very intro to Super Metroid, it wasn't necessarily scary, but you really felt like you were the only like you felt for a long time, up until you get the morph ball and stuff, you feel like you're the only thing or the only person on this entire planet.
The music helps with that.
Or lack thereof in most cases. But
True.
like the fact that it's so quiet, so silent, the only thing you hear constantly, the loudest sound effect you hear is quite literally Samus and her footsteps. That's it. Like just the thud, 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 thud of her feet on the ground, and then her little jumping sound effect, and then if you shoot her gun. But like outside of her own sound effects, everything is super muted, right? And
Yep.
and it literally drives home this entire sense of isolation, right? In what is actually supposed to be an adventure game, right? It's an action adventure platformer, right? And so it wasn't really meant to be creepy or scary, but they did a really good job of starting the game out that way.
They did. And that countdown as you suddenly, get through that first area.
Mm-hmm.
You blast right through where Mother Brain had died in the very first game.
Mm-hmm. No, I actually like that because, like, you
I
get
do.
to
I'm
see-
not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it just. Boom.
No, I really like it. A reason why I think that's actually a good touch, where you get to go back and go through the old parts. So if you played the original Metroid, you get to see all the stuff that you fought so hard to get to, and it's just like, nope, and here you are, right? And you're just walking through it like it's been abandoned for decades.
It was it about what 10 years between Metroid and Super Metroid? Not counting the Game Boy one, that happens in between, of course.
I'm not sure the in-world dates, but I mean, real world probably. It was a good 10 years.
That sounds about right. I remember the commercial for the Game Boy one of "Be afraid, be very afraid."
Mm-hmm. Fun fact though, did you know the entire reason that Nintendo never made? It took them so long after, was it 92 or 93 or whatever, when Super Metroid came out? It took Nintendo over a decade to make another Metroid game. Even the stuff they did for like the GBA and stuff, or the DS, right? It took them so long to make new Metroid games because absolutely nobody at the company wanted to make another Metroid game. Not because they didn't have any desire to actually make one, but the guy who was responsible for Super Metroid did such a bang-up job on it. Nobody thought it was like it's like going on after somebody who did like the best performance ever on stage, right? And you got to go on right after, right? They literally felt like they could never make it. No one there at the company thought they could make a game that even came close to what they did with Super Metroid, and they're like, well, fuck it, I'm not even gonna try. And that was quite literally the entire reason it took so long for them to make any more sequels.
That is impressive, and it says something about Japanese thoughts and sequels as opposed to American.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. If it had been an American company, if Nintendo was an American company, the second like they made any decent sales on the first couple of Metroids, even Metroid 3, Super Metroid, right? Like Super Metroid sold really well, sold gangbusters for the time, and
it was what people had wanted for years.
Yeah, and the thing is given how well it sold, if Nintendo was an American company, you would have seen Metroid 4, you would have seen Metroid 4 a year later, regardless if it was any good or not.
You would have seen Metroid plushies.
Yeah. Well, actually, those do exist in Japan. Those do exist in Japan. I would love a Metroid plushie. The funny thing is I went ahead, I've been playing a lot of Monster Hunter Wild, and I found some armor pieces that kind of vaguely make it look like you're wearing that when you put them together and color them the right way, it makes it you kind of look like you're wearing Samus's armor. So I ran around for a while. With my big old gun, looking like I was Samus in that game. But then I also made a costume for my hunter that also made them look like a Sister of Battle from 40K. So, you know, I went that route too.
So we've been going for about 2 hours, 12 minutes now. I think it's time we get to the main topic.
Ooh, I did arrive just in time.
Well, technically, because like I said, we already went over the part that I really wanted your reaction to. But we'll go over it again just because I want to test your obscure comic knowledge again.
I mean, I have decent knowledge, but I wouldn't say I'm that good.
Of course my mic is super quiet now because I turned it down so it wouldn't pick up
No.
anybody.
You sound okay.
You're fine.
I'm going by chat.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So, do you know the superhero that was supposed to premiere before Black Lightning?
Before Black Lightning.
Like, that's a pretty broad.
It was
Question.
supposed to be the first black superhero DC had ever rolled out. So this was before Black Lightning, but there was a reason why they never rolled him out.
Okay, it's not Green Lantern.
No, because the Black Green Lantern didn't come out until I want to say the 70s or 80s.
Stewart, yeah.
So he is a pretty good Green Lantern, I must say.
He is. I'm just trying to think of who else it'd be.
I don't know off the top of my head, but I do know a piece of trivia concerning Black Lightning when we get to that.
So this is the story of a little superhero called the Black Bomber. Have either of you heard of this?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Sounds familiar, but
Okay. So we got
Not sure
everybody
from
else's
where.
reactions, but you know, whoever came in late, and you guys can react again. So I'll set up the scene like I did then. Picture this: you are a comic book writer. Specifically, you are where's his Tony Isabella, the man who would eventually create Black Lightning. It's 1976. You're working for DC Comics. You're already pissed off because DC has made you several promises which they didn't follow through on. When suddenly they hand you 2 scripts labeled Black Bomber. This is the first black superhero, and they really want to push it out. So you read through. The story is about a man who serves in the Vietnam jungles, and he accepts a position to be a part of a secret government experiment for a top secret camouflage. Is it sounding familiar so far?
a little bit.
So, this top secret experiment gives him superpowers and turns him into the first black superhero. Here's the
Okay.
catch. He's not black. Black Bomber is in fact a fat, white, bald man who is extraordinarily racist.
Oh, well, that's something. Now it is starting to sound familiar.
Yeah.
Hold
The
on one
only
second.
reason he counts as the first black superhero is that when the camouflage experiments worked on him, during times of stress or when he screamed the phrase Black Power, he would go from fat, balding, and white to athletic, having an afro and black, and would then go about his superhero identity. the superhero identity and his normal identity do not know that each other exist. However, they both have girlfriends of their respective race. The girlfriends do know his secrets. Presumably, they know about each other, and they just don't tell him. His gimmick was going to be, whenever he goes into his superhero persona, he would then save whoever was near him that was in danger, but he would never be able to clearly see them. And then after he saves them, he turns back into his white persona and finds out that he just saved the life of a black person and would meet it with disgust and racial slurs.
Oh. Actually, this does sound rather familiar now, because I think this is actually part of a documentary I saw once on Black Lightning.
Yeah. This is shit that DC wanted to pump out.
Yeah. Funny thing is, do you know why every DC comic superhero why all the original black superheroes for DC Comics had lightning powers?
No, I don't.
So, same guy, he makes Black Lightning, right?
Mhm. So,
this happens in the 60s. The 70s around late 60s, early 70s rolls around, and they team up with Hanna-Barbera to do Super Friends. Okay? Well, here's the deal. They didn't want to pay this guy royalties off of his superhero, so they made another black superhero that had lightning powers just like Black Lightning, and gave him a different name and put him on the Justice League. To be one of the Super Friends, right? So now there are two carbon copy characters that are almost identical, both owned by DC, that are black dudes with lightning powers. Well, it goes on from there. This happens like twice more throughout history, right? Where DC just didn't want to pay the guy.
Mhm.
Okay? And so over the course of a couple of decades, multiple black superheroes with lightning powers get created. One of which, though, was made by a different guy. And it was sort of an homage. He was a character that was sort of an homage to Black Lightning. Was a character that many of us probably used to watch his cartoon on Saturday mornings, Static Shock. And he was created by another writer, and but he was created as an homage to Black Lightning. In fact, in later comic books, Static actually gets trained by Black Lightning to in how to use his powers more effectively.
Actually, I just got into that part of the interview where they asked him about the Super Friends character.
Yeah.
I do love how he said, I quit DC, but my last script had someone named Barbara Hanna, a con woman going around the country with a phony Black Lightning, and I was amazed that DC published it.
Ooh, hot. God damn. Sorry. I just got food, and the pasta that got delivered really effing hot. And I think I just burnt my fingertips.
I mean, at least you know it's a good temperature.
Well, yeah, it's not. At least I'm not getting cold, pasta here.
Mm-hmm.
Because that would suck. It's the one good thing. That's one of the good things about this place. The place I get my stuff from in that regard. The food always comes piping hot, and it's delicious. So, what more can I ask for?
I'm sure a lot of
Aloe vera.
You know.
Okay, so friends, we have the other two topics that we were going to talk about, which are our favorite video game cheeses, or we can talk about how people are still focusing on the media circus and not the correct agenda. Which would you like to talk about?
Well, the first one I will talk about, the first one I will mention, is more of the my favorite video game cheese kind of thing. And that was playing the very first Mortal Kombat. You could beat most every character in that game by just running up to them, hitting down and low kick and doing a sweep kick. And then the AI had a hard time reacting to that, so you could just keep holding down and pressing low kick and just cheese the computer into an easy win.
Yeah, a lot of early fighting games have problems like that. It's like they didn't think that their AI would be tested to, the actual moves that are in the game.
And most of the time, the AI wasn't supposed to be the big challenge. Those games were honestly meant for you to play two-player with other people.
Yeah. I love how we're still saying AI like we actually had AI back then.
Well, it's the best. It's the closest thing,
Yeah.
It's the closest thing you got to.
Because predictive algorithm just gets annoying to say.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that was a that was a cheese I used to use.
I've got one for you.
Huh.
Double Dragon 2, 8-bit Nintendo. Put your game on 2-player B, allowing the 2 players to hurt each other. This is while you're playing single. Kill the other player. You get their lives.
Oh, yeah. And then you can play single player with extra lives.
Exactly. Next bit of cheese. This happened in some of the early Mega Mans for 8-bit and also in Master Blaster on 8-bit.
The pause.
Exactly.
You pause at the right time and the enemy will still take damage.
That's the one. That's the one.
Mm-hmm. Those were a couple of my favorite cheeses.
And then a cheese that's not exactly a cheese. It's the only way to make it workable. Final Fantasy Legend.
Oh, Jesus.
Buy a kick after a kick after a kick so you can have kicks that keep doing consistent damage. This should not be a cheat, but it technically is.
Mm-hmm.
See, I don't know. Does the Silent Hill boss count as a cheese?
The dragon you shoot in the mouth?
No.
If you pause it at the right time?
The dropping all your ammo and equipping only the Hyper Blaster so the boss just kills itself.
Okay, that's cheese.
I was like, I don't know if it counts as cheese if the AI is technically, like, programmed to do that.
Actually, one of my favorite pieces of cheese that got later added in on purpose as a feature. So the original pre-Bethesda, original Fallout 1 and 2, there was a bug in the game. When you pickpocketed, you were never meant to actually be able to add items to people's thing. It was only meant to be one way. You were supposed to pickpocket and steal, not add things to people's, trousers, right? However, when you did that, there was a bug where you could take a grenade and put it into somebody's inventory and then walk away. The grenade would become live as soon as you did it, right? Because that's the way grenades were programmed, that as soon as they left your inventory, they became live. Okay? Well, it now just entered their inventory, and they don't realize it. And then they blow up. And they can't dodge it because there is a cooked grenade in their inventory. So that was actually originally a bug in both Fallout 1 and 2. Bethesda liked it, and it became a feature in all of the subsequent Fallout games.
You can also, instead of using a grenade, use a landmine.
Yep.
Yeah. A landmine will work.
Program that into Skyrim.
Oh, well, you can do that with poisons.
Yep.
You can do that with poisons, anything. You can even do that. You can also do that in Fallout, where you you can also do that in Fallout with like or you can do that in Fallout and Skyrim with food that's gone bad or is like or has something wrong with it. You can put stuff in other people's inventories and make them poison themselves. But that's because that's because all the Elder Scrolls and Fallout games use the same game engine. So it just sort of became a thing.
I wonder if Chrissy has fallen asleep or just kind of wandered off.
I am still here. I have a little bit of time left before I have to head out.
Well, do you have a favorite video game cheese?
I do. Back when I used to play Soul Calibur games like nobody's business, I got fairly decent at playing as Voldo.
Voldo was
And-
a made person.
Just if you didn't even have to really understand all of the different phases he can put himself into. All you had to know was if you are on a level that had a ring out that you could perform. Voldo's got a running elbow strike that just launches people across the floor. It's a very just quick, subtle elbow strike and just knocks them straight off of the platform. You just spam that a couple of times. It's irritating as hell, I'm sure, for the other person, but it works pretty well if you're on a platform level.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like Mitsurugi's kick, the one that just knocks them out.
Yes!
And then you just come in and just spam that and just beat them over and over again. Some players know how to get around it, but
I can't be the only one who thinks that killing just should not exist.
I don't have that much of a problem with Killick.
So that reminds me when it comes to Killick. There was a so you know his you know how all the fighters in that game had this little like short 30-second thing where it showed them like practicing like just swinging their weapon and going through whatever like martial cadence they were going through to practice their stuff. So when he's doing it, he's throwing his staff around. He's like, and he's I forget what he's saying. I forget what he's supposed to be saying. But what a lot of people thought he was saying was they thought he was saying cats. So someone went ahead and made a video where there was little kittens falling from the ground or falling from the sky, and every time he'd swing his staff, he'd yell, he'd say, "Cats! It's cats! Cats!" And then he'd swing his staff and they'd get knocked off the side of the screen. Not really a cheese, but pretty cheesy.
Forgot he used to do that, yeah.
I thought it was funny.
Let's not forget the ever classic, present in many video games. Getting to the boss fight and then realizing it's super fucking easy if you just stand in this one corner.
the end boss in Robin Hood Prince of Thieves for 8-bit Nintendo. Easily cheesed by standing next to the table, baiting the Sheriff of Nottingham, and just stabbing him in the legs over and over again. Done.
You do the same thing for a couple bosses in Contra. The very first boss in Contra, the big wall with for the fortress, you could literally just run up to the glowing red dot at the bottom of the wall, aim diagonally up, and just start shooting, and none of the shots could actually hit you right there. You're completely safe, and you just blow it up in like 3 seconds, and you're done.
Side note, I played one of the newer Contras, still a 2D game, but using 3D graphics, the other day at the Galloping Ghost.
Okay.
And my
That's
God, the controls were kind of horrible. It's beautiful. It absolutely is beautiful, but the controls, ugh.
That's why I like the old. That's what I like about some old Nintendo games, is they weren't the prettiest looking, but for a lot of them the controls were tight. You know, like hell, Mario Brothers, tight controls, great gameplay. You compare OG Mario to anything nowadays, and it looks like complete and utter ass, right? But to me, because I have nostalgic memories of it, it still has it's this retro charm for me.
I mean, hell, you get me in a retro arcade, Mario Brothers is one of the first things I'm going to.
Yeah. I mean, so there's that. Actually, a lot of old 8-bit games still speak to me. But funny thing is you wouldn't believe how much of a the original Alien, the xenomorph in that movie, how much that influenced alien designs in video games throughout the 80s. Because, like, you look at so many games, Contra, R-Type, I'm trying to remember, there's a couple games like side-scrolling shoot-em-ups like R-Type, and like 90% of the aliens look like they just walked off of like they're carbon copies of xenomorphs, or very xenomorph adjacent.
Oh, the 80s and 90s.
And I enjoyed it. I also just didn't have to do a whole lot in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah. I think mine is still going to be the Oblivion cheese with the chameleon spell. Hard as hell to pull off at the beginning of the game, but then once you do, the entire game is just a cakewalk. Another Bethesda, it just works. Well, yeah, putting 25% invisibility on 4 pieces of equipment, and then running around realizing that the AI is now entirely broken because it can no longer detect you.
For me, it was... Okay, my favorite cheese in Marvel... I was leveling my enchanting by casting a 0 duration spell.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And I stood up, think, okay, I've leveled enchanting enough. It's a tertiary skill, so it's going to help with me getting a better attribute level the next time I level up altogether. And then I moved to move, and bam, on the other end of the room from this underground area I'd been playing in.
There is actually one in New Vegas that some versions have patched, but every version I've played so far, it still works, but it is so time consuming, and it's not really a cheese, it's just a glitch. But it leads to a cheese. And it's the Sheriff Beagle infinite leveling glitch. It's just hard as hell to pull off.
Well, if we're going to talk about Bethesda exploits here, one of my favorite ones is the crafting exploit in Skyrim, where you make a potion that makes your blacksmithing better, and then you blacksmith some gloves that you then enchant to make your alchemy better, and then you just keep, and you go back and forth, and each time you make something, it makes the other thing better, and eventually you end up with alchemy that's so good you can make potions that make your enchanting just like phenomenal, and you end up with a pair of swords that do so much damage that if you were to enchant them even a little bit further, the game would mess up, the numbers would roll over, and you'd actually start healing people every time you hit them.
Yep, I've done that with mods before.
You could do that base game, no mods. That's the great part. And I did it once. It was an hour of my life I'll never get back. When I was done, I even actually stopped early because it just got so ridiculous. Because I had a pair of ebony longswords that did. I think the longswords themselves did something in the range of like over 1,000 damage per swing, and then I did like an extra 10 or 14,000 damage or something nutty, electrical and fire damage. Right. And literally, there was nothing in the game that could stand up to that. Like, even the final boss. You walk up to Alden, and you just whack, you're dead.
Yeah.
But the fight's not even...
Anybody here a fan of the Spiffing Brit?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I watch this stuff all... This game is balanced and has absolutely no exploits whatsoever.
Did you see his latest one on Oblivion?
Mm-hmm. The one where he made the guy, Juan Punch
Juan
Man?
Punch.
Yes. I saw that one.
Unfortunately, like, that was a fun little exploit, and for those of you who haven't seen it, it's in Oblivion's base game, the original release, the amount of damage that you would output was tied to your fatigue stat. So the lower your fatigue originally, the less damage you did, but if you managed to get yourself into a negative fatigue state, again, the numbers would overflow and it would actually reset to where you are now doing over the amount of damage that you should be doing. So he created a build where when he grabbed Umbra was only doing 5 damage, but because he had the fatigue exploit, it was doing 5 times 200 for a massive amount of damage. Basically, he could kill anything in just about 2 hits. And then he further enforced that, then went straight through, summoned the final boss, managed to hit it in 1 hit. So then he summoned the DLC final boss, which is like 4 times tougher, and managed to 1-hit that.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, for those of you planning on trying it in the remaster has reworked the damage output formula, so your stamina no longer has anything to do with your damage output.
Yeah. Also, they normalized leveling, so all the old exploits where you'd make all the things you actually wanted to be good at, your secondary and tertiary skills.
Yeah.
Well, those no longer that no longer works.
Yeah.
So you might as well, if you want to be good at long swords and acrobatics, just make blades and jumping your primary skills, because
Yeah, on my Oblivion stream, I went ahead and made my custom class, which basically it's acrobatics, athletics, marksman, security, stealth, and I think I put restoration in there just for the hell of it. So yeah, I've just been jumping everywhere.
Yeah. Level up by jumping. Jump.
Imperial Docks, you find a lantern, you stand straight under it, and then you just spam jump. That does, however, remind me of one of my favorite mods that I ever downloaded for Skyrim. Was it the Macho Man Randy Savage Dragons mod?
That one was fun, and I liked that one. That one was fun. And every time the dragon would use its thum, you just hear, "Oh yeah!" But no, the other one I thought was hilarious was somebody made a mod where the mud crabs in the games would sit there and stutter and swear, and they'd be
Oh yeah, I
asshole.
remember that one.
Yeah.
Speaking of crabs who are bugged, when Wrath of the Lich King came out, if you were a Death Knight on the Horde side and therefore went to Ogremar, there were several passerbys who would scream at you things like, "You monster, the Scourge killed my family." Some of those people who would do that were the crabs in the nearby ponds.
Yeah.
We learned how to speak specifically to shame you.
I didn't play a whole lot of Horde side, so I heard of that one. I never saw that one personally.
You know, now that I think about it, we really should just stop calling Bethesda a game developer. And no, they make cheese. That's what they make. Like the Fallout 4 bug where you can get the quantum Nuka armor if you just stand next to the display case, launch yourself out of a set of power armor, and then you'll immediately glitch through the glass, and then you can just put on the quantum armor, it'll lift the glass, and then you can just go about your merry way.
Yeah. There's also that ice gun in the very first vault that if you can do it right, you can get your dog to just take it out of the case.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even have to unlock it. And your dog will just magically Houdini it out.
How many times have we gotten an item that Bethesda said we shouldn't be able to? Simply because the container was bugged, and if you put enough force behind it, it popped out whatever it had.
Yeah. Or steal from shopkeepers without them realizing they've been stolen from because you looked straight down on the floor and were somehow able to see their the chest that contained their inventory.
Mm-hmm. It was one of the first things I did when I got my Skyrim Legendary Edition was run straight to Dawnstar and look for the chests near the silver mine. But unfortunately, they've patched that out, apparently. Or the ever classic Skyrim with the steal from anybody, just put a basket on their head.
That was great. Hey, what are you doing? I can't see you anymore. What are you doing? Never mind. Doesn't matter. It'll all be over in a minute.
You know the underside of the map in Skyrim better than the top side? I used to know the Whiterun underside like crazy. Because, the stall vendors in Whiterun's market, you can't get to their chests because they're underneath the physical stalls. But if you ran up to the Cloud District, ran to the Grey Main Home, there was a seam on the ground that if you jumped just right, you would fall underneath the map, and you could follow the path down the waterfall and over to the shopkeep's chests and just steal it all from them. And because you are underneath the map, even if you are somehow detected, the guards can't get to you.
Yeah. There's also another one. There's another way you can do that in Whiterun, where you can actually jump. There's a way that you can jump over the wall. You can jump over the wall and be outside of Whiterun, right? And unless you actually touch the ground out there, as long as you're on like the rocks that are like underneath the wall, it won't do anything. It won't like auto take you out there or do anything. You can jump over the part of the wall in one section, go under the Forge Master over by the Companion Hall. Excuse me. You can steal all of his inventory, walk along rocks that are under the main ground of the level, and you can like literally also steal everyone else's inventory.
Mm-hmm.
And I will be right back I need to let the pupper out.
Okay. There's also one of my favorite. I don't know why they particularly programmed it like this way, but if you ever want to murder somebody, and you can get them into Morthal, not Morthal.
Uh-huh.
Which one is it? Whichever one the Silver Bloods run. Markarth.
Yeah.
If you can get him into Markarth and get him into Sidna Mine, kill him in Sidna Mine, nobody cares because the mercenaries will find you. But if you kill the mercenaries, you won't get anything until you go back out, and then the guard will come after you. But by that point, you can just run straight out to the gate.
Mm-hmm.
So Sidna Mine has been like my personal murder pit for years.
My personal murder pit has just been, again, what we were talking about earlier. I'd throw poison and stuff into people's. I'd pickpocket people and give them poison and then just let them kill themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And the worst thing that ever happens if you do get seen pickpocketing someone, they're like, "Hey, you can't do that," right? And it's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Here, have 5 gold. I'll pay the fine." And then the person dies like 10 minutes later, but you don't get any flack for it.
What did you do? I didn't do anything. I was just pickpocketing them. Hell,
I was trying to steal his
you
gold.
came from them.
Yeah. I was trying to steal his gold, not kill him.
If I wanted to kill him, I just stabbed him.
Yep.
Okay, we have been going for nearly 3 hours now.
Oh?
And I am starting to pass the fuck out, and I think I have to be up early tomorrow. So I think we should probably start winding this one up.
Oh, real quick. I just want to say one more thing before we go.
Mm-hmm.
So, the teacher I work with, it was her birthday today. So I made her a birthday card. It said happy birthday and it had her name on it and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And what I did is I made this like repeating pattern inside the inside the letters of happy birthday. But if you actually stop and look at the repeating pattern, there's a couple sections where instead of the repeating pattern, there's letters in there. Okay? And it's done just enough that on like at first glance you would never notice it, but if you're looking for it, you'd find it. I put in the lyrics for it said never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down. Right? All thing. And I wrote the lyrics to that inside the words of happy birthday, but hid them with this repeating pattern. Okay? And so the birthday card said happy birthday, and then you open it up, you've been rickrolled. Take another look at the front. And then she looks at the front and she gave me the dirtiest look ever. Also, I think I might have put this into one of the Discords. I'm just gonna pump this out there because I love cheesy jokes. How do you tell how heavy a red chili pepper is? You give it away, give it away, give it away now.
No.
We
You're
love
welcome.
dad jokes on this channel.
I'll be around all week. Oh, also last one. Do you know what the difference between a Zippo and a hippo is? One's really big and heavy, and the other one's a little lighter.
You know what? You're making me do this. I can't believe I have to go get this book. years ago, I got this little black book. Jokes every man should know. It is the worst dad book joke ever.
That is a good book to have.
It is.
Yeah. Classic. Oh man.
I'm kind of waiting on Raz because it's not fair that we would leave without his expert outro.
Ah. Oh, well, man.
I just wanted to let you know that a couple days ago. I haven't heard anything from you, so I didn't know if you noticed it or not.
Da 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 da.
I'm curious real quick.
So, but anyways, so yeah.
Oh yeah, here you go. Here's one. Brenda O'Malley is home making dinner when Tim Finnegan arrives at her door. Brenda, may I come in? He asks. I have something to tell you. Well, of course you can come in, Tim, but where's my husband? Well, that's what I'm here to be telling you, Brenda. There was an accident down at the brewery. Oh, God, no, cries Brenda. Please don't tell me. I must, Brenda. Your husband, Seamus, is dead and gone. I'm sorry. She looked up at Tim and said, How did it happen, Tim? It's terrible, Brenda. He fell into a vat of stout and drowned. Oh, sweet Jesus. Do you at least go quickly? Well, no, Brenda. Fact is, he got out 3 times to piss.
Oh man, reminds me of another joke that I know. So there's these 2 cowboys and they're going through the desert and they're both really hungry. And first one looks over in the distance. You see, and he's like, "We're saved." In the distance, there's a bacon tree, and he rides towards this bacon tree as fast as he possibly can. Unfortunately, he's cut down by a hail of gunfire. And in his last dying breath, he looks over at his partner and says, I was wrong. It wasn't a bacon tree. It was a ham bush. Wow.
I have heard that one.
I don't know what you think.
This one I almost expect you to do in the middle of a leverage session. It says, guy walks into a bar, sees a sign that says, cheese sandwiches $4, hand jobs 10. So he asks the waitress, excuse me, are you the one that gives the hand jobs? Yeah, I am, she says. Well, wash your hands because I want a cheese sandwich.
That's pretty good. Oh, man.
That's a pure Carlos joke if I've ever heard it.
Yeah, that would be. I was also making, I was, a couple weeks ago, I was at a D&D game, and my character I was playing was like a Grim Reaper sort of character. And every time we were in combat, and one of the bad guys said something to me, and I told him, and I was like, well, you hold on there. You didn't just mess up. That was a grave mistake.
Wow.
I made some more puns along those lines. And then one of the other players said something to me, and I was like, "What? You don't appreciate a little gallows humor?" Along the lines of a game. There's a game me and some of my old friends from like junior high and high school play when we're playing video games together. Is we'll go ahead and we'll come up with like just really stupid, silly puns in the middle of what we're playing, and the whole point of the game is to try to come up with. We all take turns, and it's you don't lose until you can't come up with another pun. And they all have to be ridiculous and silly. Kind of like, you know, you're playing like a barbarian or something with ice powers, and you go and you hit somebody in the face, and you go, "Hey, I just came over to ask you a question." You know, stuff like that.
Puns.
It's a lot of fun for me.
Oh gods, I'm already coming up with more.
Okay, like I said, I think I'm gonna wrap it up here because I am now starting to fall asleep. So who would like to
Okay,
start
then.
our outros?
I'm gonna say I'm gonna go second.
Wow.
Very well.
I put you on the table and you're all just like, I don't want to do it.
I think I'll go ahead then.
Okay. I specifically said I was gonna go second, so.
Go ahead, Rask.
Saturday night, Over the Edge on Community Radio for East Central Illinois, 90.1 FM, WEFT Champaign. Streaming online at new.weft.org/listen.
Ooh, you know what? That was a pretty good one. Your mic never cut out during any of that. Got like every syllable.
That's because I'm on push to talk on a headset at the moment.
Oh, gotcha. Well, I'm used to other streams where like right at the end there you get into that that last little bit, and like your mic will cut out every time during that last little sentence.
That's because I switched volumes for the last bit, so I have more of an NPR voice.
Ah. All right. Well, I had a lot of fun. I don't have anything specific that I need to shill or advertise at the moment. But thanks for having me on. It was fun.
You're welcome back
And,
anytime. I am actually one day we will get Explosive Seal on the stream. Also, one day I
Alright.
will actually copy down Rascalin's stream link and actually put it in the description.
Yay!
And one of these days, I'll get the right kind of bank account so I can accept digital payments over the internet, so that I can more aggressively, advertise my own artwork.
Yeah, speaking of which, before we close out, I think Chrissy needs to pimp his contributions to the stream.
Well, thank you again for having me on. This has been an absolutely wonderful time, and thank you all, the viewers at home or wherever you are watching us currently. If you want to support more of these videos, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to know when this show goes live or any of the other shows go live. As for myself, I am over on Bandcamp at blackmagicattic.com. So it's a little bit of electronic, a little bit of classical, metal, grindcore. It's a mess, but it's my mess. So if you're interested in that, hop on over. And thank you very much again for coming over.
Now that he's stolen half my job. I'll go ahead and return the favor. Yes, he is Black Magic Attic over at Bandcamp. He did make the Howling intro music. He also made our lovely intro and outro splash screens, which I horribly mutilated today with our group shots.
It's all good.
Once again, if you liked what you heard, please subscribe, like, join the Discord, follow us on Blue Sky, Instagram, and there are a couple email links down there in the description if you need to get a hold of me personally, or you just want to suggest a video or any fun topics that you might think would make a fun video. And next Tuesday we will be playing Leverage once again at 9 p.m. And after that, I will also, all this week, I will be streaming both Blueprints and Oblivion until I am sick of it and can't think of anything else. And the week after next, we will be back with Howling. We will hopefully have a topic by then. And yeah, I think that's about it. So thank you everybody for joining us, and have a great night.